Now let's go into a bit more activation here. Human-centered communication. So I try to do this a bit more human-centric. There's lots of information here. I go very, very briefly through it, but we will focus on these 3 yellow ones because they're a bit more motivating for folks. So human motivation, if you think about identity and energy from the top, on the top left, or on the right from your perspective. Self-actualization, some of you might know those concepts, but get the basics right? Train, sleep, eat well. Those are basics, which are often not even mentioned in conferences like this. If you're going to bring your best every day to work, think about those hygiene factors as well, right? 2, drive and motivation. We talked about that. So Maslow's pyramid, Maslow has had a run there. But if you go back again to the old Greeks, they had that stuff already before that, right? So it's a hierarchy of needs, he called it. But it's sort of, I always try to explain it in a matter of the people need to be eaten, right? They have to have something to eat. They need to have something to do with their hands. They have to have switched on their head, find something for their heart, have the building, that protects them from all the stuff that happens out there. But then there is the most important one, which is these days, almost a bit chuckled on, because religions, people are running away from religions, right? They're finding other purpose. They want to have that transcendence, still want to have, right? We talked this morning, you said, things change. What is it? Things change. And what was the second part? This morning I said in the conversation, things change, and then there was a second part to that phrase. Yes, but you were referring to that things change and everything's changed, or something like that. But when you talk about those things, it's things, right? Everything changes, right? So it's things, but what doesn't change are ideas. This transcendent things, right? The ideas, the ideologies in a negative sense, the stuff that transcends, right? Everything that we can't really grasp, the stories we heard there yesterday, right? Those are things you tell to your children and they tell it to their children. And it's just important to remember that that exists, right? That is a leverage where we can create some emotion and feelings which will help to sort of, make it a bit more human-centered. The other one, upbringing, nurture versus nature. We don't go much into that. There's some emotion theory, but then also intention and interest. So for instance, I'm saying I'm hungry is a different thing than saying I want to go to eat at McDonald's. Not that I ever would eat at McDonald's, but just saying, right? So the intention might be there that someone is hungry and still have leeway to decide what does that mean for that particular person, versus a very, very specific what they want to eat, right? So the intention counts. It's a bit an abstract example, but makes it a bit more relatable. Conscious versus factual, so ability to problem solve. And I was wondering, is the gentleman still here for AI? We talked about magnifying it by an IQ of 1,000, right? This is what we heard this morning, if I recall this correctly. So what are we talking about on that intelligence? To do some standardized tests, which we can easily measure and are replicable, and are sort of the only one that actually really work. I've read many books about emotional intelligence, leadership intelligence, execution intelligence. If you look at it scientifically, the only one that really predicts success and how well someone is actually IQ, right? It's only standardized test. But then you still say, okay, is that a standardized test? Yes, you can make it replicable. It's good for an algorithm to learn, but is that all intelligence really is, right? I wanted to sort of, challenge him on that one a bit, that 1,000 IQ. Yes, you can do a predictive. I can look at the patterns where you test intelligence, but can it do other things, right? Can it really read emotions? Can it, feel? I don't know, right? That's something we'll see in the future. Context matters.